Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We are so excited that you're here with us today for ABA 3L week. So congratulations, graduating 3Ls. You have done it. You're almost there, and we are so excited for you. We came up with the idea of 3L week as a way to celebrate your accomplishments, especially since you all went through the majority of your law school experience in a pandemic and probably taking classes virtually or hybrid. So we really just wanted to celebrate your accomplishments and say that we are extremely proud of you. And we are here to help you as you move forward into this next step of your career. So for those of you that aren't yet aware, your ABA law student membership does expire when you graduate. So that free membership you have right now or your $25 premium membership will expire when you graduate in a few months. So we are here to encourage you to sign up for your full ABA membership this week. That membership is $75 a year for your first 5 years as a barred attorney. So it's a really low price and it's a good idea to get that locked in right now. It affords you all the same benefits as your law student membership, but in addition to that, you will get access to all of the ABA CLE library. So for those of you that don't know, when you finish law school, you continue to do more school and more learning forever. So you will be required to take continuing learning education credits as an attorney, and those can be quite costly. And as an ABA member, you get to access all of our CLEs for free as part of your membership. So it's a great benefit. It can save you a lot of money. And in addition to that, you get to access all of the other great things the ABA has to offer. For example, the Career Center. So if you are still in the job search process and not sure of where you're going to go next, or maybe you don't even know what kind of law you want to go into, you are just struggling to even figure out how to start this job application process, the Career Center can really help you with that process, as well as a lot of networking opportunities. So again, if you are still kind of exploring different areas of law, this is a great opportunity to join a section, meet leaders in that section, attorneys, judges, other legal professionals, and really kind of build that network out. And if you join this week, so you can join obviously at any time, but we are strongly encouraging you all to sign up for your $75 membership this week, because if you do so, you will receive a bar prep care package from the ABA that has a lot of goodies in it. It'll have a tote bag and a tumbler and a padfolio and highlighters, earplugs, a whole lot of things that you might need while you're studying for the bar. And you will only get that if you sign up this week. For those of you that signed up for your full membership earlier, please send me an email directly and I will put that email address in the chat here in a little bit. So you all can just email me directly if you have any questions about that. And we are also raffling off some Amazon gift cards this week as well. So everyone who signs up this week will be entered into that raffle, and we will announce those raffle winners and send out those prizes next week. So if you haven't already, go ahead and go to the ABA website, sign up for your $75 pre-bar membership. I'll drop that link in the chat as well so that you guys have that. And then, yeah. We're really excited you're here, and we are excited to have you join the ABA as a full member attorney. So with that, I will leave you all, and thanks so much. Like I said, I will leave my email address in the chat for you all.
Welcome to 3L Strategies you can use now for big results on your post-law school job search, sponsored by the American Bar Association. We're really excited to have Susanne Aronowitz with us to share high-impact strategies you can implement now to position yourself for success. Susanne is a senior consultant with Naomi Beard Associates and a career coach who has helped thousands of law students and lawyers successfully navigate their job searches. She previously served as Associate Dean for Law School Career and Alumni Services at a San Francisco Bay Area law school. She earned her law degree at UC Hastings College of Law. her bachelor's at the University of Michigan, and holds a professional certified coach credential from the International Coaching Federation. Susanne also serves on the board of the ABA's Career Center. Susanne, we'll hand it off to you.
Great. Thank you, Tracy. And thanks for inviting me to be here today. I'm so thrilled to speak with all of you graduating students. I worked for almost 20 years out of law school, and so I know all of the hard work that you've invested and maybe some of the questions that you have in mind as you start to think about the road ahead. And so by the end of today's brief program, I'll be offering you 4 simple strategies that you can use right now to lay the foundation for your post-law school job search. And regardless of whatever you are interested in, these strategies are both broad enough and yet specific enough that they can apply to you regardless of the interests that you have professionally. And so there is also a handout for the program, and so hopefully you have had access to that, or if not, hopefully Tracy can pop a link to that at some point in the chat. And I encourage you to download the handout and have that available as a sort of a synopsis of some of the strategies I'll be offering to you today. Now, I know that as graduating students, you've got a lot on your plate right now. You are still juggling classes, getting ready for finals. Some of you may still be working jobs or internships. You have family responsibilities and other commitments, right? So there's not a lot of extra time right now for a full-fledged job search. And I think it's also a confusing time just in terms of timing, right? A lot of you may not know exactly what you're supposed to be doing right now to support your job search. You may have heard that some employers prefer to hire new attorneys after bar results come out. And so if that's true, what do you do now in late April if employers might not want to talk to you until the fall? And so I'm going to give you a clear plan of action, which will help you focus the limited energy you have where it will have the greatest impact. And part of my goal is to give you more control over this process. And in addition to supporting the job search, these are strategies that I would encourage you to incorporate into your ongoing practice, because these are going to be the things that help you make a smooth transition once you've landed the job, and also help you invest in your professional development as you continue to move forward in your career. But before we dig into the strategies, I thought it'd be helpful to talk a little bit about when it is that employers do actually hire lawyers, so you have a little bit more information. So according to data that law schools collected from the recent graduates and then reported to the ABA and NALP, about 35% of the class of 2020 found their jobs after graduation. Right? So while large law firms, maybe some larger government agencies like DOJ or federal judges tended to hire in advance, graduates who ended up at small and medium-sized firms, public interest organizations, local government offices like prosecutor and public defender offices, those folks tended to find their jobs after taking the bar exam, or maybe even after getting results and getting licensed. Now, that same data showed that across the country, the most frequently cited methods of finding entry-level jobs was using contacts, whether by networking, self-initiated outreach, or returning to a prior job. In fact, recent graduates were approximately 50% more likely to find jobs through these methods than by simply answering job postings. Now, you already know how to access job listings, right? You don't need me to tell you how to do that. But by incorporating the strategies you see here in the blue sections of the slide, you'll end up doubling the opportunities that are available to you. So let's dig into today's strategies, which are designed to increase the likelihood you'll hear about opportunities and enhance your credentials to make you the strongest possible candidates for these positions. Now, my first strategy is a fun one. Prior to graduation, make sure that you are connecting with faculty members, mentors, supervisors from your jobs and internships, and other professionals who have supported you along the way. they work with so many law students that it's sometimes hard for them to keep track of who's graduating when and what everyone's goals are and who has a job or who needs a job. And so it's important to make that final connection before you leave campus, whether that's an in-person campus or a virtual one. So I encourage you to schedule coffees, lunches, visit office hours, or make phone calls or emails to thank these mentors and supervisors and faculty for their support and their guidance. Remind them that you're getting ready to graduate and talk to them about your future goals. Use your conversations to learn more about the choices they made to help launch their careers and get advice about your mutual areas of interest. They will likely have some helpful tips for you. They can refer you to different resources and maybe even help facilitate some connections to their colleagues. Now, if you can't reach everybody in person, at least send emails to let them know you're getting ready to graduate. And let all of these contacts know that you'll be in touch with them after the bar exam, right? Sometimes contacting people after a period of silence feels awkward. And so if you plant that seed now, like, hey, I'm going to be quiet for a couple of months, I'll reconnect with you in August or September, that makes it a little bit easier for you and removes a little bit of that emotional resistance to reaching out. Now, it's important to have a system that will make it as easy as possible for you to stay connected with everyone and remember who's in your network. And your goal is to stay on everybody's radar and to periodically update your contacts on your accomplishments and be the first person they think of when they hear about opportunities. And yet we want to do this with minimal impact or minimal effort on your part, right? So the more we can make this systematic, the better. So I encourage you to use your calendar and schedule reminders. And you could do this now. So schedule reminders, maybe between now and graduation, do another series of check-ins with your network after taking the bar exam, and then another connection after you get your bar results, right? So 3 touch points, and you could put them on your calendar now so you don't have to think about it later. And then, of course, you want to reach out to your folks once you accept that job and let them know what you're doing and thank them for their support. And these are connections you will want to maintain throughout your career, but these are a good way to get started. I also encourage you to set up a system to keep track of all of this information. So you could use a simple Excel spreadsheet or Google Sheets, or maybe even an online project management tool like Trello, or if you happen to have a CRM, whatever it is, it could be on index cards, whatever works for you is the best system. But the idea is you want something that you can keep updating with. Who have you reached out to? What did they share with you? Maybe what advice did they offer? What next steps do you want to take as a result of that advice? And maybe make a note of the next time you want to reach out to them. The goal here is to make it easy for people to remember you and to put you in the right place at the right time, so that you are the person they think of when they hear of opportunities. So take a moment now. If you have the handout, you could jot this down on the handout, or if you have a piece of paper, use that. But write down the names of at least 3 people you want to connect with, ideally in person or on the phone or on Zoom before you graduate. And then pull out your phone and set some appointments for when you'll create a spreadsheet or whatever system you plan to use to keep track of your contacts, and to make calendar appointments for these specific windows when you might reach out to folks, right? Before graduation, after taking the bar, after getting bar results, and after getting your job. We don't know exactly when that will be, but make sure that those other touch points are already earmarked on your calendar so you don't even have to remember to do it. That appointment is waiting for you. So the next strategy involves leveraging student discounts. As you just heard, there are a lot of resources to help support you in the profession. And one of the easiest ways to raise your profile and learn about different types of practice and build connections is joining bar associations and professional organizations, right? So whether it's a national organization like the ABA or local organizations, these are really essential to your ongoing development. To the extent you are able, Attend free CLE programs and subscribe to legal publications. And often through your membership, you get access to these things. Immersing yourself in your professional community and monitoring emerging legal trends will be helpful in getting your new job. It will also help you succeed in your new role, right? You can imagine that you can have a much more interesting conversation on a job interview if you are up to date with what's going on in the field. And if you can share with employers all the different things you are doing to stay current and stay engaged in the profession. You're also much more likely to hear about jobs through that engagement. Now, one of the reasons why I encourage you to do this now is that a lot of organizations will offer student discounts. And so if you can still take advantage of those while you are currently a student, I encourage you to do so. So in addition to the ABA, I encourage you to think about other organizations you might want to join, right? This could be your county bar association. Maybe there's a practice area organization, affinity bar associations, however you want to identify and connect with potential colleagues. Think about that and explore what do they offer for students or recent graduates. And in fact, if you're not sure what organizations are available to you or what you should join, that might be a question you ask the contacts you have in those conversations I suggested just a moment ago. So start exploring these different organizations and see what do they offer students, right? Do they offer student discounts? If they're not free and there's still a membership fee, that might be something to keep in mind. If you have people in your life who want to offer you a graduation gift, that might be a good thing for folks to subsidize as a graduation gift for you. Explore any special resources they offer to students and recent grads, right? Like the ABA's 3L week. You just heard about all kinds of amazing resources specifically for graduating students. And many organizations will offer special training programs, special online resources, job listings, or mentor programs specifically to help you make that transition from law school to law practice. I also encourage you to attend CLE programs. You heard about them just a moment ago. And many organizations offer them at a free or discounted rate to students or recent graduates. And even though you don't yet need the CLE credit, the content you will get through these programs is so valuable to you. It's really important that your legal knowledge and expertise continues to grow and that it doesn't stay frozen in time from the moment of your final law school class, right? Law continues to develop and your understanding of it needs to continue to develop as well. So find ways to attend those programs. It's a great way to meet people in your area of interest. And as I said, many of them will offer these programs either free or deeply discounted to students or recent graduates. And of course, once you join these organizations, make sure you put these new affiliations on your resume. Now, joining these organizations can be a particularly good strategy for those of you who are doing an out-of-town job search. Right? Look for organizations in your target geographical area and get them on your resume. It's a really easy way to start adding local credentials to your resume to start establishing a connection to that geographic market where you intend to practice. So take a moment now and write down the names of bar associations or other professional organizations you want to explore or consider joining, and give yourself a deadline. Put that on your calendar of when you will actually fill out the forms or jump through those steps to take advantage of those opportunities. Our next strategy involves making sure that your presentation, your application materials, your LinkedIn profile reflect your new identity, right? We want to make sure that you are being received in the world as a future lawyer and not as a former student. So I encourage you to get feedback from others to make sure that you are creating the impression that you intend to create. And that, again, could be through those conversations you're having with your professors and former supervisors and mentors. Maybe ask them for feedback on your resume and make sure that you're presenting yourself in the strongest possible light. So one way to do that is to minimize the college activities on your resume to create room for any of these new professional activities and bar associations that you're joining. Examine your verb choice, right? Minimize the use of words like assisted that tend to undermine your value, and instead use verbs that showcase your skills, your contribution, your level of responsibility, and your ability to work independently. Showcase the specific skills and knowledge that your future employers will be most interested in, and embed that legal vocabulary into your job descriptions to show the kinds of documents and matters you've dealt with and the subject areas you've been exposed to. Make sure that your writing sample reflects your current ability and matches the style of writing you're likely to do at your desired job. At this stage, I recommend that you avoid using writing assignments from your 1L research and writing classes if you can avoid it. If you have an assignment from one of your jobs or internships, perhaps seek permission right now from your prior employer to use it in your job search, or see if you need to redact confidential information. But now would be a good time to take care of that. And if you don't have a suitable writing sample and you're still working in a job or internship, you might ask your supervisor for a writing assignment that you could use for your future job search. This is also a good time to update your LinkedIn profile. Make sure that your photo shows you in a professional light. Have a compelling headline that includes language about your interest, right? So it might be graduating law student with experience in employment litigation or something along those lines. But if it simply says law student at name of law school, it doesn't help future employers see you as someone who might be appropriate to join their organization. We want them to see the areas where you have some interest and where you have some expertise, and that they start to see you as a future legal professional. And make sure also that the summary or the about portion of your LinkedIn profile frames your experience in the present tense and describes you in the way that you want employers to see you. This is a real opportunity to highlight your professional brand and some of the experience and expertise you've accumulated throughout law school or even before law school that could be compelling to future employers. So on your handout or in your calendar, set a date by which you want to update these documents. I also recommend that you make an appointment to review them with one of your school's career development counselors, ideally before you graduate or soon after taking the bar. Now, even though your formal education may be coming to an end, employers expect that you will continue to grow and develop as a professional once you leave law school. So it's important to use the time between taking the bar exam and landing your long-term job to continue your learning and development. You want to avoid stagnation in your skill set. And while it may be challenging for smaller employers to commit to hiring an entry-level attorney this far in advance, those same employers may be very comfortable committing to short-term work while you wait for bar results and conduct your job search. So I encourage you to be very strategic and use these short-term positions to fill any identified skill gaps, explore areas of the law that you're curious about, and enhance your credentials. So work with your school's career services office to learn about pro bono opportunities, paid law clerk or contract work, short-term fellowships, or writing projects, maybe working with a professor or somebody on an article that they're working on in your area of interest. You might find these positions in your school's job listings by reaching out to employers who have hired interns or law clerks from your school in the past. A lot of them may be very excited to have a recent graduate who is more advanced and more available than a law student typically is. I also encourage you to contact organizations that do the same kind of work you want to do after law school to see if they would consider hiring a recent graduate on a short-term basis. Explore the pro bono resources at your school and in your legal community. And as I said earlier, maybe take on some writing projects for faculty members or attorneys or former supervisors who might be working on articles or books or presentations. That might be a great way to collaborate and maybe get a reference out of the process. So be creative. Your goal is to find ways to continue developing your skills while also maybe enhancing these relationships and enhancing your profile. In return, you're going to create some great work product that might be great for writing samples on your job search, and you'll be building relationships with potential recommenders, and you'll be avoiding that gap on your resume. So if you're not familiar with the resources available to help you identify these opportunities, make it a priority right now to connect with your school's career office. I also encourage you to identify the organizations or people you'd like to contact to explore these potential opportunities. So I have one last piece of advice for those of you taking the July bar exam. Allow yourself some downtime after the exam to recover and regroup, right? This has been a long, hard process. You have deserved a break, and you will need it to refresh yourself. So allow yourself that opportunity to unwind, and select a date now when you plan to resume your job search after the bar exam, and simply mark that on the calendar so that you know any time between taking the exam and that date is your time to relax, unwind, do what you need to do. And that first day that you've identified will become the first day of your job search. To kick off the job search, schedule an appointment with one of your school's career advisors, and they can help you kind of jumpstart the process, identify any new resources that they've developed for recent graduates, and help you build off of the groundwork you've laid through the strategies we've discussed today. In fact, I encourage you to get acquainted with the resources your school has developed to help you with your post-law school job search. Most law school graduates are not aware of all of the resources that are available to them at their schools. So learn how you can access your school's job listings, any newsletters they might offer for recent graduates, special career counseling, help with networking, alumni connections, and resources in other markets. I think a lot of folks don't realize that your law school can help you establish resources and connections in other job markets, even if they're located in one particular part of the country. So let your school's counselors know what you need and keep them informed of your progress along the way. Whether you need introductions to alumni, help preparing for an interview, or just a pep talk, they are going to be your best resource. And please keep them informed of your progress. Every ABA accredited law school is required to document the employment status of every graduate, and they all want to do this accurately. So they will be contacting you over the next, 9 months or a year, and please respond to their requests for information and keep them updated if your circumstances change. So to recap, here are the 4 strategies I recommend you use now to support your future job search success. First, get your contacts in order. Reach out to your professors and supervisors and mentors, and create a system to keep track of all of these contacts, and set some appointments in your calendar as to when you'll be reaching out to them. Join bar associations and subscribe to publications that offer student discounts, and familiarize yourself with the resources they make available to recent graduates. And try to line up, get your application documents ready. Make sure they've graduated just like you are. So update the dates of, your spring semester internships, your graduation status. Make sure that your resume is ready to go and that your LinkedIn profile really reflects you as a future legal professional. And then try to line up some short-term opportunities to keep you working and earning money between the period of taking the bar exam and finding that long-term job. And remember to schedule the first day of your post-bar exam job search now. The idea is to plant the seeds now that you can harvest in your entry-level job search and throughout your legal career. So we have a couple minutes. I'm happy to answer any questions. I don't know if there have been any that have come up, Tracy.
So one question that came in just now, what is a good amount of time to unwind after the bar exam and start the job search?
That's a tough one. I think it's a very personal question depending on your financial circumstances, personal obligations, or if you have a family or other things going on. Some of you may be working already, perhaps, especially if you were in an evening program. So, for some people it's a weekend, for some people it's a couple of weeks. I would encourage you though, and what I used to encourage my students is probably by mid-August, assuming you're taking a bar in late July, that you're starting to get back on track. So maybe a couple of weeks, but you don't want to wait too long to get back into this process. And especially for those of you where the bar results may come out relatively quickly, you want to capitalize on some of this, the time before you get bar results, to lay the foundation for the job search.
Okay, thank you. We have another question here. How do you connect your pre-law school professional experience with one's legal career?
Yeah, it's all connected. I mean, you are the total of all of the experiences that you've had. So I think with any job search, it's helpful to understand what it is that your future employers value, right? What are the areas of knowledge, the professional skills, the professional qualities, communication skills, leadership skills, all of those attributes that go into who you will show up as at your new job. And so the more you can understand what your future employers value and expect to see, the more you can figure out, oh yeah, I've done those things, and you can highlight those aspects of your prior work. And so I think that's true no matter what, whether you had a whole career before and during law school, or whether you went straight through from undergrad to law school, is really understanding what your employers value and then finding ways to show them that you have those qualities. And so that would be the way to think about, what have you done in your prior work? If the work you want to do as a lawyer involves the same industry or same substance, that's a little bit more straightforward into making those connections. If you've made a real pivot, the work you've done before will still be important in terms of showing, professionalism skills, leadership, communication, organization, things like that. So those might be the ways you'd frame your prior work, but you want to use the language of your future employers, and you can often learn that language through those conversations I suggested earlier.
Great. We have another question here. What if you do not pass the bar exam? What should your next steps be?
First of all, it is very common, and I'm licensed in California, and most of my career was in California, and the bar, it's very challenging to pass the bar. So if that happens, you're in good company. And I would encourage you to take some time to collect yourself emotionally and, process that. It's difficult news. And then you pick up and you move forward. I would encourage you to stay in touch with your law school. Your law school likely has resources and support for folks who might need to study for the bar again. They will certainly have guidance, and they have a lot of experience, just even through the network of alumni, to know what has worked well and what hasn't worked well. So to that end, I would say resist the effort to isolate. I think sometimes that happens when people are disappointed or are dealing with something that's difficult, they tend to isolate. And this is a situation where I would encourage you to reach out and take advantage of all the resources available to you. You will learn you are not alone. You are in good company. Perhaps some of your mentors or former supervisors also had to take the bar multiple times, and they will have great advice and maybe even great emotional support for you. But I really would encourage you to just be as matter of fact about it as you possibly can. I also encourage you, at this stage of the game, before we know what your bar results are, to operate as if you've passed. This was a challenge I saw a lot, where a lot of my students would postpone the job search until they knew they got the positive bar results, because they were worried that they might have to disappoint an employer or they wouldn't be available to start a job. And so they just avoided the whole job search until they knew what was going on with the bar. I don't think that's a great strategy. There's so much you can be doing to develop yourself, to make yourself a stronger candidate in those months leading up to getting bar results. And remember, I was in California, so our folks didn't get bar results until November and then get licensed till December. So if they didn't wait until then, it was holiday time. So now they're first starting the job search in January when their peers have been doing a lot of work for the several months leading up to that. So I would encourage you, as soon as you take the bar, you take your little break to dive in, assume and hope for the best. If you get disappointing news, you are resilient and you are capable of dealing with it, and you will have great resources around you to help you figure out next steps. But until then, I really encourage you to operate as if you passed, and you'll deal with the consequences otherwise. But I am feeling very optimistic for all of you. You're here on this call today. That tells me that you are really thinking about your future and doing all the things you need to do to invest in your success.
Great. Well, those are all the questions that we have today. So we want to thank you all for joining us. And a special thank you to Susanne Aronowitz. We wish all graduating 3Ls the best as you tackle exams and start your preparations for the bar exam. Please visit the ABA website for a whole host of resources to help you prepare for that bar exam and as you launch and navigate your careers. Have a great day.
Great, thank you.